Alright, here is the video review for Fans Hobby MB-12 Athena. Their version of, as you can see, Minerva, a little rolling car. And got a little power driver inside there. And if you've played with any of their God Armors for their various Power Master Primes that has come with the little guys, you know what you're getting with the power driver. It looks like it's, with one small exception, it looks like it's essentially the same little figure that came with those. But the one issue, like you can get the driver inside there. You can lift this up. You can see you can access the pilot there inside the vehicle. But in order to do that, you have to push down on the inside, which is the back side of the torso. And the box actually illustrates it better. You can see this hinges for the doors. And then this is part of the chest here on the underside of the vehicle, this red part. And the clearance is very tight. Like even this makes it look a little better than I think it really is in actuality. Certainly with the power driver in, because you kind of have to push that inner piece down to get the power driver to fit. And you can kind of push it back up underneath, but that clearance is really tight on there. And if you don't push it back up after getting the power driver in, you'll end up scraping this along the thing if you room your car around. And if you're going to turn it into car mode, why wouldn't you want to roll it around? It does roll pretty well. This is not a flat surface, but on a flat surface, it does actually roll fairly cleanly when you have the clearance there. But it's a very small amount of clearance, just be forewarned. All the crosses are stickers. For whatever reason. This one was actually not too difficult to get lined up because you can put it right next to each other. These might be on the two side doors, not be exactly in the right spot on the door. I feel like I got them close, but you rarely are ever going to be able to see both door stickers at the same time, so I'm not super concerned about it, except when they're on the back of the legs, and when they were earlier, it looked okay, so I'm assuming I didn't do too horrible of a job there. And there's a few other little stickers like the kneecaps, and in here on the dashboard, like these little details, this little detail, and then the little details here on the side are also stickers. They do give you, thankfully, both the small little decal that was in here on the dashboard, and then you get duplicates of all of the cross stickers. So in case you do mess up, you've got backups right here, which is nice. You also get the bio card and the fold-out instructions for the car. And yeah, like I said, you can pop this up. You can access the driver inside there. And it rolls, and that's about all there is to the vehicle mode. Now, this whole assembly, this whole canopy assembly pops off. You can see it clips on right here. Partly for transformation, it's a little bit of a parts former. Also, you can leave it off if you don't like it. But you can see here's the power driver, and then there's a little place to store the cap part of the headmaster bit. It just kind of plugs in right there using its antenna in the back. This can be difficult to get because when you put the driver in, you have to make sure you have some clearance between the driver and this post, because that post is what this clips onto. And you kind of snap it into place. It can be easy. Sometimes it'll clip really well. Sometimes it just takes a slight little bump to knock the whole thing off. And like you can see, there's a slight gap up here that I haven't been able to figure out exactly what's causing it, because it wasn't like that when I first opened it. But if you start wiggling this too much, this will just pop right off. I wish this clipped on a little better, maybe pegged in a little better in the few places where it does peg in. It's not a huge issue. And like I said, as long as you're careful, you can kind of put your thumb right there. You can just flip that up to access the inside of the car. But it is something that can be a problem, and it may just be that my copy. Not a deal breaker, but something to be aware of. And then a transformer, we'll go ahead and pop that off. And we'll pull the little head cap out. And again, flip this little panel here forward and down like that. It'll give you access to the driver. And you can kind of wiggle her out. Although she gets stuck. When you push this back up, it gives you the clearance down here, but it does tend to cause this to get caught, the feet to get caught in here. So you kind of have to push back down on the inner cab part to free up the power driver. And that's how you get it in. You can see once you push that down, you can see how that underside is now sitting below the wheel and keeps it all up. So you have to kind of push this whole assembly down to get the driver's feet in there. And once you've got that in, you kind of push it back up, which will lock the driver in place and get this back up to a level where it's not scraping the ground. And we'll go ahead and see superposable. You got a little ball joint at the head, ball joint at the shoulders, elbow hinge. There is an ab crunch, partly for transformation, but there is an ab crunch there. Ball joint hips, and then hinge knees. The hips do tend to pop off from time to time if you're not careful, but just fold her at the ab crunch, and then bring her knees all the way up, and put the arms up along the side, and you just take the little helmet and clip it on over her head, and there's her head for robot mode. And we'll get to that later on. For the rest of it, come back here, lift this panel up just a bit like that, and then you can pop out the handguns, which store back in. And getting them back in, you just want to make sure the hinge is facing the back, because it's going to this little angle right here is going to butt up against this hinge right here. But there's a little clip back here. You can kind of see it inside the thing, and you just got to get it. It has to go in pretty much straight from the side, but you just kind of friction holds these things in back there like that. Just push it in, and it holds it in place fairly well. We'll pop those out, and then you open them like this. And if you have just enough of a fingernail, you can actually get in there. There's a little tab to get the handle out. And if you don't have enough fingernail to get in there, you can see this tiny, tiny little tab here. I'm going to try to do it naturally, but it may just be I have to go straight for. Oh, there we go. Got it. There's a little tiny tab sticking out. If that proves to be too much, you can take the little tabby bit here on the front part of the gun. Actually, I need to use this one. Put that little the tab on the underside of the top side of the gun. You can get that in there and kind of pop it out if you're having trouble. And there's the little handguns. Again, we'll set those off to the side. And we'll start transforming it. So to start off, we're just going to untab these arm panels right here, as well as untab them from each other on the back. The license plate is a sticker. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. So untab that and kind of bring those arms down. Untab the doors here. Actually, the rear view mirrors, go ahead and take them. You want to grab them right here where they meet the car, because I'm worried you'll break it. If you too much leverage, you could break that, because this is a pretty stiff joint. But grab them right here at this clip and rotate them down, and then fold them up against the door. Like that. And you can untab the door and just kind of bring it down and around like that on this black hinge. And then come under here, fold the window in first, and then fold the black panel on top of it. And I like that the black panel kind of hides the glass in robot mode. Like it, it's kind of a little armor for the fragile parts for the robot, which I think is kind of cool. They could have folded either way, but that's how they did it. I like that. All right, so we've done that. Go ahead and take this, with this panel folded down, go ahead and take, kind of move this hinge up and fold these white panels in like that. Go ahead, these panels right here, you lift them up, you split them, and then you rotate them around this way, lift them up, and then rotate them around again. Kind of do a little swoopy swoop on them. So rotate it around here, lift it up, rotate it around, and then it's going to peg together back again on this side, and then fold in like that, and that's going to fill in the back. So there's no gap there where the cockpit was for the thing. That's actually kind of a neat little... The double flip confused me at first in the instructions, but once you know how that all goes together, it's actually pretty ingenious the way that folds in to fill the back. The doors, bring them down like this, and then this is where it gets a little tricky. You want to split the front end of the car. You got to make sure that these stay out of the way of each other. And then grab this whole front fender right along the hood and pop that out like that. The door's going to fold down with it. Again, you got to kind of keep them from bumping into each other. And then this panel right here flips up. You can go ahead and fold it in half. That's going to be her robot toe. And then you've got bring that down and around so it's open, and flip the thigh up. This piece also forms the knee hinge, or knee cover. There's those knee stickers right there I was telling you about. And once that's down, flip this whole panel down like that, and flip the toe up into place. And then this whole panel comes back around again, clips back into place around the hood. And then the door, you lift up, you fold it back down on the hinge, and then there's a sliding bar here. You slide it over, and then this little tab right here is going to tab in to the back. It doesn't hold as great as it should, or as much as I'd like it to. And if you could fold this down first and then the window over it, maybe it would hold a little better. No, it doesn't seem to be the case. Okay. You might be able to put a little polish on that to get it to stick a little better. It will stay in place, but it doesn't take much to bump it out of that tab. But you just tab it on like that, and that's one leg done. And then you just come around here and do the same thing on this side. Bring the wheel down. Open it up. Put this panel up and around. And bring this around and get the whole leg out. This will kind of automatically flip up as you open this, but bring it all the way forward. That knee hinge there. Put that up and around. Fold this back around. Keep it in place. And then fold this back up. Yeah, okay, there we go. Slide it and tab it. And there's a lower body done. Like that. And then up here, bring the arms down and around on there. You can keep these pieces out of the way. Go ahead and fold these panels down. Flip the arms down. Bring the shoulders all the way down and around. Rotate the arms so the elbow faces forward. And then rotate the wrist. And then extend the fingers. The fingers, when you go back to vehicle mode, you want to kind of, they are opposable. The fingers are all one solid block, but there's a hinge in the middle and then a hinge at the hand, and then the thumb itself is on its own joint. When going back to vehicle mode, you do want to have them kind of flat, like have it so the lowest hinge, the hinge closest to the hand is straight out, and then fold the fingers down and then fold the thumb up so they're kind of like that, and that's how they fit inside the thing. There may be other options, but that's the easiest way to get them to fold back within the panels that the frame the panels form. Same on this arm. You can see there's the hand how it was. Just flip out the thumb and then fold the fingers to a more natural pose like that. And then rotate these around. And you want this round joint that's connected to a ball joint to this panel. You want to bring that out so it's on the outside, so you can see it from the front. And then on this hinge back here, rotate this panel up, and then rotate that kind of, rotate the panel up so the post comes up over her shoulder, and then this circle hinge right here comes down. Sometimes this will pop off the ball joint from the pressure, but then you rotate that so the wheel sits along her shoulder like that. And same over here. And you can use these hinges to get these out of the way in all sorts of, like if you want to in more of an action pose, but that's how you get them. That's how, like, just get them right up against the arm like that. Let's keep coming untabbed. And then this piece right here, we'll come back to this. You take this hinge piece and flip it up. Rotate this over. And then kind of take this and hinge it. That's going to form her backpack, which clips right back onto the post it came off of originally. You don't have to leave that on there if you don't want to, but that's where it goes in robot mode. And then we take her head and we just, now there is a little springy panel in here, but I thought maybe there was a way to pop the head out easier than it does, and you'll see that in a second. But there is like a little spring panel that fills in the hole here. Let's see, do I have something you can kind of, this little black panel here, you can kind of push it down. I don't know if you can see the white being exposed in the back there, but there's a little springy panel there. There's not a whole lot of resistance, but there's a little springy panel there to keep that from just being an empty hole. And you take this and you just kind of push it, firm pressure, snap it into place. Now she's got that ball joint. She can kind of look up and down. And her head's attached. And there is Athena in robot mode. Now, like I said, the head is tight. And I know somebody else has already popped the head off in that socket. And I can't imagine it's easy to get out. They did, but I can't even imagine. But I find just like a firm, steady pressure, kind of wiggling it up. You don't want to wiggle it too hard from side to side. Just give it a slight wiggle as you steadily pull up, and it should pop out okay without popping the robot head off into the socket. And then open up her hands. The guns have little pegs that peg into the palm, like a lot of toys these days. You can give her her weapons. And there you go. Now, of course, being a Headmaster Junior, she a Headmaster? Yeah, Night Beat was a Headmaster Junior. Anyway, the chest does open up, and there is kind of a spring-loaded. It's not tied to the head. It's only as you open the chest, and then these little tech details are little stickers on the sides here as well on the two edges. But there's a little chest to reveal her power rating, which is kind of neat. You see that? Okay. Bring that up and kind of see how it springs up. And posability, like I said, she's got the ball joint at the neck, so she's got a little bit of side to side. Not a huge range, but a decent amount of range for having a second robot as a head. The dual hinge at the shoulder. There is a bicep swivel, dual hinged elbows. As you can see there, wrist swivel. You saw the fingers already. These can move. Like I said, there's a ball joint right at the thing, as well as a hinge there and a hinge on the back. In both directions, it swivels and hinges. So you can get a lot of really wide stances and get these out of the way. If you want to lower them down a little bit, you can, although they'll be more, they won't hover right against, a little further away from the arm. But whatever your personal preference is for how these sit, you can probably get them there. Out of the way, again, if you want to, you can pop this off if it's getting in your way. It does have a weight, like an ab crunch here, a waist swivel, because I think it's just a ball joint in there. Ball joint hips, thigh swivel, dual hinge knees, although the door kind of gets in the way. If you move that door, you can get a little bit more range of motion out of it. And then ankle tilts, toe tilts there at the foot. Yeah, a nice little third-party Minerva, which is cool. I hope we see more of the Headmaster. They've hinted that they're working on a remold of this into Night Beat, which I'm super excited for, because I would love to have a modern Night Beat Headmaster. So we'll see how that goes. Quick size comparison with a modern current figure. There she is with Siege Starscream, since I had him right here. Just to give you an idea. A lot of people asked, I don't have Hardhead, but I do have Make Toys Chrome Dome. So if you want to see that size comparison, there it is. A little over halfway taller. Actually, more than halfway taller if you go up to the shoulders, but just over the waist for the head. And again, just for the fun of it, we have a classic collection. There she is with a G1 Starscream, just to give you an idea of the scale. Maybe you don't have any newer figures, and you're looking to get into them, and Athena is the one you're looking at first. Well, there you go. Now you know how big she is to your classic collection. I don't know. It was just something I had sitting here. Figured, why not waste it? Right. You know what I meant. Anyway, there is Athena from Fans Hobby, MB-12. Looking forward to what they got coming on the pipe. They've got that... I haven't even showed off. I forgot to show off. It's such a tiny piece sitting over here. She does have a swappable faceplate. That's the other extra little thing I was talking about. So you pop her head off. You can probably do this while it's attached too, but it's going to be a little easier with the head off. Pop the pistol out of her hand. But you can pop off. Actually, it's a little easier with this off as well. You can pop off this faceplate. Of course, now that I need to actually do it, there we go. There's just a little peg right here. You can pop off the smiling faceplate and give her a neutral. Actually, still not just unpleasant. She still looks like she's slightly amused, but she's not quite as smiley. And give her a more neutral expression if you want. Go ahead and put that on here just so you can see what that looks like. So it's up to you how happy she is on your shelf. But yeah, looking forward to the Machine Wars Optimus Prime repaint they had of their Thunder Clash. I'm really looking forward to the naval, what they're calling Naval Commander, the Armada Optimus Prime. And it looks like they've hinted at having both Jetfire and Overload available for him as well. So we'll see how that turns out. That's looking pretty impressive. And come on. Don't do this to me right at the end of the video. But yeah, there is MB-12 Athena. Another fun little release from Fans Hobby.